What's happening, everybody? Welcome into today's show. LSU is adding to their quarterback room. What does adding Jayden Daniels do for their quarterback depth? We will discuss some takeaways for some of the big SEC guys taking part in the NFL Combine over the weekend. Some big names putting up some big numbers. The men's basketball tournament is set as the SEC men's basketball regular season came to an end, and we're getting ready for the tourney. We'll tell you who's playing when. Set your schedule for this week. And the South Carolina women's team, not the SEC tournament champs, as the ladies of Kentucky pull off the big upset. We'll discuss that too. Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is happening, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. Great to have you guys along. This episode is brought to you by Stat Hero. Stat Hero is reshaping the way you play fantasy sports. Dozens of house-based games to play daily. No sharks, no funky props. Just your skill versus the lineups you choose. Sign up today at stathero.com/lockedon. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks to you guys for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On SEC is free and available on all platforms, including at YouTube and at LockedOnSEC.com. Got plenty to jump into. Let's get to it. Let's go around the conference.
Boots out to the right. Takes the handoff. What a catch!
Around the conference.
And we start with Jayden Daniels, who was one of the more sought-after quarterbacks in the transfer portal when he announced he was leaving Arizona State just a couple of weeks ago. And there are rumors abound that Missouri was interested, a couple other schools, but on Sunday evening, Daniels committed to LSU. That's according to a report from Pete Thamel of ESPN. Daniels, a very experienced and productive quarterback in 3 years out in the desert. He passed for over 6,000 yards, 32 touchdowns with 13 interceptions, and also rushed for almost 1,300 yards with 13 rushing touchdowns. Brian Kelly, in a school release, said Jayden is an outstanding player who will make our quarterback room even stronger. He's a player with a strong arm and the ability to make plays with his feet. We're excited to welcome Jayden to our program as we continue to build a roster of student athletes who will compete for championships on the field and work just as hard in the classroom. Now, the Sun Devils went 8-5 last year. Daniels threw for 2,300 yards, 10 touchdowns with 10 interceptions. So those numbers not as great. But his decision to leave Arizona State came after offensive coordinator Zach Hill left in January. Sun Devils also lost quarterback Ethan Long to the transfer, but they brought in former Alabama quarterback Paul Tyson to compete for the starting job. Now, for LSU, man, it is going to be a battle of a quarterback room. When you talk about Miles Brennan, the 6-year guy who decided to come back, and everybody just kind of penciled him in, assumed he's going to be the starter. Had Garrett Nussmeier there last year as well. You bring in another talented freshman. I mean, it is going to be a crowded quarterback room. The question is, will all four guys be on the roster come the fall? We will see. But Jayden Daniels coming in to push Miles Brennan. And look, you could say Miles Brennan has had a history of injuries in his time at LSU. That's no doubt. So maybe this is almost insurance for if Miles Brennan can't stay healthy, Jayden Daniels can be the guy. Some other news from the weekend coming off a national championship win. A number of Georgia defenders were working out this past weekend at the NFL Combine. The big winner of the day was Jordan Davis, who had a very fast 40 time. It bounced around on what the official time was versus what it was very fast. He was under a 5 for a guy who weighs 300 pounds. And they basically said his broad jump was the best performance by a 300-pound player since 2003. NFL Research put together a list of his combine numbers and compared them to notable stars. They said he measured in taller than Rob Gronkowski, had a better vertical than Jamal Charles, and had a quicker 10-yard split than Jarvis Landry. Jordan Davis may have helped himself because a few of the mock drafts I saw had him going like 32nd overall, like last pick of the first round. See if his numbers at his combine and what he does at his pro day will help Jordan Davis climb up higher in the first round. Now, he was not alone in impressing on Saturday. Fellow D lineman Devontae Wyatt, Travon Walker, they put up some big numbers. Wyatt was a little bit faster than Davis in the 40-yard dash. A pair of linebackers from Georgia also looked good. Channing Tindall and Quay Walker posted top 5 times at the linebacker position in the 40-yard dash. So best of luck to all those guys. Meanwhile, Tennessee wide receiver Velus Jones, he turned some heads on Thursday when he ran. He ran a 4.34 and then a 4.32 in the 40-yard dash. So Velus Jones, the dynamic return man / receiver, his stock is climbing in this year's draft. In other SEC news, Lane Kiffin made some headlines over the weekend. He shared his reaction to the NCAA's decision on faking injuries. Friday night, Lane Kiffin quoted a story from 24/7 Sports. It says, "There will not be any in-game penalties for faking injuries." And Kiffin tagged Tennessee's official account. Now, Kiffin may just be taking a shot at Josh Heupel, but the Ole Miss head coach tweet was widely interpreted as taunting the Vols and the Vol fan base. If you recall, faking injuries has become a hot topic, particularly this past year when Ole Miss beat Tennessee back in October. The game's remembered, of course, for the golf ball being thrown at Lane Kiffin and mustard bottles and everything else at Neyland Stadium. But it's become an issue with up-tempo offenses. Guys on the defense will fall to the ground, whether real injury or not, and, slow down the offense. And so NCAA was considering, should we put penalties in for this? They decided no, and Lane Kiffin took a shot at the Vols. So there you have it. Tennessee and Ole Miss, by the way, not going to meet in the regular season this year. Meanwhile, in some recruiting news, Tennessee, they have some key spots that need to be filled ahead of this coming season. Josh Heupel jumping into the transfer portal. He got a key commitment on Sunday from a former Georgia Tech defensive back, Wesley Walker. He's a Nashville native. He tweeted out that he is heading back to the Volunteer States. 3 years at Georgia Tech, he had 95 tackles, 6 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Meanwhile, over at Kentucky, Mark Stoops already going to work on the 2023 class. And Saturday night, they added a piece in 3-star offensive lineman Malachi Wood. He's a native of Richmond, Kentucky, committed to the Wildcats. He's the number 74 offensive tackle in the class of 2023. Wildcats now have 4 players already in their 2023 class. It's number 21 in the nation. Over in South Carolina, Spencer Radler starting to settle in with the Gamecocks, and he said, talking with the media, said, "I feel totally just refreshed to be at a new university, a great school like this. I feel a sense here, very comfortable." He said, knowing Coach Shane Beamer, getting to know all these guys, my first month here, I made a great decision. I'm happy I'm in this position. So best of luck to Spencer Radler. Threw for 28 touchdowns as a redshirt freshman at Oklahoma in 2020. Was a Heisman favorite last year. We'll see what he does this year with the Gamecocks. Gus Malzahn, good friends with Bruce Pearl as they were at Auburn together for a handful of years. And Malzahn took to Twitter over the weekend, said, congrats to my good friend, Coach Bruce Pearl, on another SEC championship. It's time for Bruce to be National Coach of the Year. So we'll see if Bruce Pearl wins that award. Meanwhile, over at Alabama, Bryce Young, fresh off his Heisman campaign over the weekend, he tweeted out he's got a new NIL deal with the BMW of Tuscaloosa. Tweeted out a picture of his new black BMW. It's an interesting choice of an NIL sponsor because Nick Saban has a line of Mercedes dealerships in Alabama and Tennessee. See if Saban eventually comments on Bryce Young's new vehicle. And a little bit of baseball news. Mississippi State, they beat Tulane on Friday night 19-2, but Bulldog fans were not really celebrating as Landon Sims, their star pitcher, left the game due to injury in the 4th inning. State coach Chris Lamonis spoke to reporters and said he did not know much about the injury at the time, said his arm just didn't feel right, so they took him out. The junior right-hander has a 1.15 ERA so far this year. And one more note, Kentucky basketball always recruits at a high level, but they lost a recruit over the weekend with Severe Willer potentially coming back next year at the point guard spot. 2022 point guard Sky Clark has reopened his commitment, decommitting from Kentucky. He's the number 5 point guard in the class of 2022. So we'll see where he ends up. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Coming up next, we'll get you set for the SEC men's basketball tournament starting up this week. The bracket is set. We'll run through it with you in just a second. Of course, football season is over. Basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. And for all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, betonline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline, they remain the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, news throughout this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net, they are your source for everything else from hockey to boxing, UFC odds. All the information you need, they have got it for you at betonline.net. Maybe you want to start looking ahead to next football season. What do some of those odds look like? Of course, with all the basketball tournament stuff going on, you're going to need a lot of research, and you can find it there at betonline.net. Head on over to their website today. You can use your mobile device, learn about all the trends and action. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. Of course, speaking of the tournament starting up, that means you need to start thinking about where you're going to be running your brackets this year. Are you going for the regular, or you want to try something new, something cool, something better? We've done our homework, and we found that running brackets at runyourpool.com is the best way to go. They've got standard brackets. They've got different game types like Survivor, tons of different things. You need to go check them out. You can even edit scoring. If you got a business, Run Your Pool can help you take some of that madness magic and play alongside your employees and even game customers. They've got great customer support, custom branding, one of the easiest 3-minute setups you will find. Clearly, we believe Run Your Pool because, like I said, we've got our brackets running on there as well. If you want to play, you can get a shot at a cash prize. You can join us at runyourpool.com/lockedon. Runyourpool.com/lockedon. And while you're there, you can create your own pool for your friends and family. You can enter the code Pure Madness at checkout. You get $10 off your custom pool. All the rules and details are up there for you. Runyourpool.com/lockedon for your chance to win a cash prize. Look forward to seeing you, and maybe we'll beat you there. Roll along here, Locked On SEC. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Make sure you check out the Locked On Bracket Breakdown. Just a little over a week away, March 14th, right here on the Locked On SEC podcast feed and YouTube channel. You'll find myself, along with Andy Patton and betting expert Lee Sterling, giving you in-depth breakdown on every matchup. Again, it's the Locked On Bracket Breakdown. We'll have that for you next week. Start getting your bracket filled out. All right, let's jump into it because the 2022 men's basketball tournament is going to tip off in Tampa this coming Wednesday, March 9th, and the bracket is set. Auburn, they clinched their outright regular season title, beating South Carolina on Saturday afternoon at Auburn Arena. But we will start things off Wednesday with number 13 seed Ole Miss taking on number 12 seed Mizzou. That starts the action 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central. And then later that night, it'll be number 14 seed Georgia versus number 11 seed Vanderbilt squaring off. Both those games will air on the SEC network. Now, just to recap real quick, it was a busy final weekend of the regular season in the SEC. As we mentioned, Auburn took care of South Carolina 82-71 to win the SEC regular season title. LSU got a much-needed home win in overtime over Alabama, 80-77. A heartbreaking loss for Alabama. A game they felt like they should have won. LSU gutted it out, found a way to win. Kentucky, they got a road win at Florida, 71-63. They were in control much of the game, but, man, Florida started to rally late, made it a little bit close. Speaking of rally, what a rally Arkansas had. Tennessee, they stayed unbeaten at home with a 78-74 win over Arkansas, but, man, they were blowing out Arkansas in the first half. Razorbacks put together a fight and made it close and still lost the game, but give them credit for fighting like heck in that second half. Mizzou, they beat Georgia 79-69. Vandy beat Ole Miss 63-61. A&M beat Mississippi State 67-64. By the way, the Aggies have now won 4 in a row, 5 of their last 6. So the Aggies, a team you don't want to see in the tournament, we will see. So we mentioned Wednesday, we got our first two games, 13 against 12, Ole Miss versus Mizzou, and then the later game, Georgia versus Vanderbilt. On Thursday, first game of the day, 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern. It'll be 9-seed Florida versus 8-seed Texas A&M. Just mentioned the Aggies are red hot. See if they can win that one. The game right after that, again, 25 minutes after that game, it'll be 5-seed LSU. They'll play the winner of Ole Miss, Missouri. So that game will be somewhere around 2:30 Eastern, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. Later that day, at 5 o'clock Central, 6 Eastern, it'll be 10-seed Mississippi State versus 7-seed South Carolina. South Carolina playing much better basketball in recent weeks than they did earlier in the year. And then the later game, late into Thursday night, we will get 6-seed Alabama, and they'll play the winner of Georgia, Vanderbilt. If I had to guess, probably Vanderbilt will beat Georgia in that one because Georgia is not a very good team. So probably going to get Alabama Vandy in the nightcap on Thursday. Then we get to Friday, and that's where your top 4 seeds who all got the byes will be. Auburn will play the winner of Florida and Texas A&M. That'll be the first one at 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern on ESPN. In the afternoon, it'll be 4-seed Arkansas. They'll get the winner of LSU versus whoever, Ole Miss, Mizzou. Then at 5 Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, it'll be 2-seed Tennessee on Friday against the winner of the Mississippi State-South Carolina game. And then Kentucky will play the late game on Friday night. 3-seed Kentucky will take on the winner of 6-seed Alabama versus whoever, Vandy, Georgia, whatever. So that is basically through the quarterfinals. And then the semifinals will be on Saturday. Game 1 will be 12 p.m. Central, 1 Eastern. And then the other game will follow 25 minutes after that. And then on Sunday will be our SEC Tournament Championship. That will be at 12 Central, 1 Eastern. All the weekend games on ESPN. So there you have it. That is the tournament bracket as it is set up. Now, it has been a remarkable season for the conference, particularly at the top of the conference. Auburn, Kentucky, and Tennessee all went unbeaten at home this season, producing the first time the SEC had 3 teams finish undefeated at home since the 1950s. Then you add in the fact that Arkansas and the top 4 teams in the SEC went 35-1 at home. So Arkansas only lost the 1 home game. That's a stat that John Calipari brought up Saturday night following the results of the day. Calipari touted the SEC as the best league in the country. He ended up tweeting out, look, any team in the SEC that's 9-9 should be in the NCAA tournament. He said the top 4 teams in our league went 35-1 at home. That's crazy. We are clearly the best league, and our teams deserve that respect. Now, based on Calipari's criteria, that would mean that Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas are all in. LSU and Alabama are in. And then he would say Florida and South Carolina would deserve to be in. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, they improved to 9-9. So it's a lot of SEC teams to get in there. Calipari believing 9 SEC teams worthy of the tournament. According to Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology, he's got 6 SEC teams in. So we'll see what happens. I would think some of these SEC teams should get the benefit of the doubt. Of course, 1 or 2 could make a surprise run through the tournament and punch their ticket. According to Ken Pomeroy, big stats guru, he said Kentucky actually has the best chance to win it all. They have a 30.7% chance to win the title game in March Madness. Auburn, they check in at number 2. 26% chance. Tennessee at number 3, 20% chance. And Arkansas, 4th best odds of the conference with an 8% chance to win it all. Ken Palm very low on Mizzou and Georgia, giving each school a less than 0.01% chance to win it all. So there you have it. That is the latest with the SEC tournament and bracketology. When we return, we will discuss what happened over the weekend in the women's tournament. And man, props to Kentucky winning it all for the first time in a long time. We'll get to that in just a second. But thanks again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. I want to tell you about our friends over at Stat Hero. Look, you know that I love March Madness and the brackets, but I can't remember the last time I actually went deep or won any money. I'm hedging my bets this year with Stat Hero's NCAA Pick'em contest. It is Stat Hero's NCAA single game pick'em. It pits the star players against each other in an amazing hybrid between fantasy and sports gambling. Take back, control back from those handicappers that always seem to have the advantage. Start focusing on the players you know best with a gameplay that doesn't rely on big spreads, long odds, or funky props. Stat Hero gives you the advantage, resulting in their games winning 4 times more often because Stat Hero eliminates the mystery about who or what you are going up against. In addition to the pick'em games, they also have dozens of lineups you can comb through to take on head-to-heads. They simply post sets of players for you to take on with a set of players that you choose. Stat Hero, the easiest and fastest way for you to get your sports action fix. This is what daily fantasy was meant to be. Sign up for free right now at stathero.com/lockedon. Use our promo code for a 100% deposit match. That's stathero.com/lockedon. Use our promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% match. Stathero.com/lockedon. Promo code LOCKEDON. Terms and conditions apply. Of course, always good to be thinking a little bit more healthy, and you can do that with our friends over at Built Bar. I know a lot of you have given up on your New Year's resolutions, probably back to eating your junk food and stuff sitting at your desk or post-workout. Look, go check out our friends over at Built Bar, built.com. They've got the puffs we've been telling you about, the fluffy, marshmallowy protein bars that are awesome to try. Of course, all Built Bars covered in 100% real chocolate, low in calorie, high in protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They're better. Typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Go to built.com. You scroll down to the macros chart. You'll be blown away by all the stats. High protein, low cal, high fiber, low carb. Check out all the different flavors that they have. They're going to have something that you're going to love and enjoy. Go to built.com. Use our promo code LOCKED15. That will get you 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Continue on here, Locked On SEC. And again, we've been talking a little bit about the men's tournament, which gets started up here. The women's tournament was just this past week. And yesterday, Kentucky's women's basketball team, well, they won the SEC tournament title for the first time since 1982 with a 64-62 upset of number 1 ranked South Carolina Sunday afternoon. The winning basket was a three-pointer by Dreonna Edwards with 5 seconds to go. The Wildcats, they were seeded number 7 in the tournament. They won 4 games in Nashville to take the title, including beating top-seeded South Carolina, number 2 seed LSU, number 3 seed Tennessee, and they started their run on Thursday by beating 10 seed Mississippi State. It was an unbelievable run they had. Kentucky took the 1982 title over Tennessee when the tournament was just in its 3rd year. Since then, the Cats had lost in the SEC final in 2010, 2011, 2013, 2014. They fell to South Carolina twice in the regular season, but were able to give the Gamecocks just their 2nd loss on Sunday. South Carolina also fell to Mizzou back on December 30th. South Carolina, they still have the overall number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament locked up. According to ESPN Bracketology, the Gamecocks had won 6 of the past 7 SEC tournament titles. Kentucky, they started the SEC play at 2-8. They're now 19-11 overall. They went 8-8 in the SEC, and they've won 10 games in a row. So congrats to them. They overcame a 12-point fourth-quarter deficit that saw South Carolina convert just 2 field goals in the final quarter. Kentucky women are the 2nd lowest seed ever to win the SEC women's tournament. 7 seed, that's what they were. Auburn won the 97 tournament as a 9 seed. And with the upset over South Carolina, like we said, Kentucky's won 10 in a row. A scary good bunch heading to the postseason. Going to be fun to see what they can do. So latest ESPN bracketology, the SEC is projected in the women's tournament to get 9 teams in. That would be the most of any conference. So here's what they have. They have South Carolina still as the top number 1 seed. Kim Mulkey's LSU Tigers, they're expected to be in as a 2 seed. Unbelievable what she did in year 1 in Baton Rouge. Tennessee projected in as a 3 seed. Ole Miss, they have in as a 6 seed. Georgia, they have projected as a 7 seed, as well as Florida as a 7 seed. Now they have, I don't know how updated the bracketology was. They have Kentucky climbing their way in as an 8 seed. Obviously, you win the SEC tournament in their latest hot streak. They have them a little bit higher than that. Arkansas, they have in as a 10 seed. And then Missouri, they have projected in as a 12 seed. Now, Missouri is currently projected as one of the last 4 in. They have Alabama projected as not the last 4 out. They have them as the next 4 out. So going to be difficult for the Alabama women to get in. But the 2022 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship bracket will be revealed during the selection show, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, March 13th. So their bracket will come out after the men's bracket is released next Sunday. And there you have it. That is the latest news around the conference. Appreciate you guys listening. Congrats to the Kentucky women, by the way, getting it done. Thank you guys for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. You can now make your second listen. Check out the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker. They bring the NFL Draft to life every day with insight and analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Chris Gordy. I'm out of breath. It was a lot to cover today. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things SEC with you. And excited to get into the SEC men's tournament. Excited to bring you all the latest news from around the college football world, particularly the SEC, as we'll continue to track as teams start to get into spring practice. And, man, you guys can see it already. Plenty of movement still happening in the transfer portal. Jayden Daniels surprisingly joining the LSU quarterback room. There's always something going on. And we'll always keep you guys up to date with the latest news going on around the Southeastern Conference. I'm Chris Gordy. This has been Locked On SEC. Go give us a follow on social media. I'm at Chris Gordy. The show is at Locked On SEC. Remember to subscribe. And if you can, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. That would help as well. And the video version, of course, on YouTube. You can go check that out as well. We will talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC.